Let's go ahead and walk through the mechanics of setting up a pawn fork. Now, pawn forks need to be defended unless, and there's three exceptions. The first exception is that you have two non-diagonal pieces, such as a knight and a rook. And we'll take a look at an example here. We've got two rooks in front of us. And if the white pawn goes forward to the e3 square right there, that sets up a fork of the two rooks, and there's no way black can get out of that. Now let's go ahead and fast forward to this example where there are two knights set up for black. If white moves forward to that e4 square, that sets up a fork of those two pieces as well. Now the second situation that a pawn fork will need to be defended is if we look at this example right here, okay? Well, white just basically needs to go forward to the e4 square. However, if we throw in a piece such as a knight or a knight from any square there that goes ahead and defends that e4 square, in this case, white cannot set up a fork because the e4 square is defended it can be defended by any piece from the outside. So as long as that e4 square is not defended, white can go ahead and set up a fork. Now if we go ahead and shift gears and look at this example with the rook and queen in front of us, in this case the fork will need to be defended. So we could, let's say, add a pawn on d3, and that would set up defense. So white could simply take the e2 pawn and advance it to the e4 square right there, and that would set up a fork. Now we're going to look at the third exception to the rule that fork does not need to be defended on, and that is essentially a discovered check. If we look at this board in front of us right here, white simply needs to take the pawn on e3 and advance it to the e4 square right there, and that sets up a discovered check from the bishop on the king. So essentially black will have to move that king, and these two pieces are forked, and in this case black is going to lose the queen. So there's essentially three different exceptions to a pawn fork not needed to be defended, or we're looking at discovered checks, or we could have two non-diagonal pieces. And then the other caveat is the forking square is not defended by a third piece. Before we go ahead and close, I'd like to add one caveat here, that these things are not always easy or straightforward to set up, as most people can see the pawn fork ahead of time. So sometimes what you'll have to do is set up a decoy or a poison square. Let's say we have a black here. Well, black will take the pawn on g6, move it forward to g5 and sacrifice it, and if it can get white's bishop to bite, it sets up a pawn fork as we see right here. And this essentially wraps up our tutorial on setting up pawn forks and the mechanics of that. Thank you for watching.